Clive Barker has had a checkered history with adaptations of his work. For every Candyman, there's a Transmutations. For every Hellraiser, there's, well, pretty much every other Hellraiser. He's even been featured already on Failure to Launch with Rawhead Rex, but he's had the most success with the films that he's directed himself. Besides the previously mentioned Hellraiser, there's Lord of Illusions, which did pretty well with the critics, even if it didn't set the box office on fire. But his biggest mixed bag was Nightbreed, a film more set up for a franchise than pretty much any of his other works. So, let's head underground and possibly out of the closet to Midian to figure out why this breed got neutered. So back in 1990, Nightbreed was released. After 1987's Hellraiser was a huge hit, it was decided that his directorial follow-up would be an adaptation of his novella, Cabal. The story gives us great value David Boreanaz and his girlfriend, and Aaron Boone here is having dreams about another world of creatures. And his psychiatrist is David freaking Cronenberg, who has some interesting nighttime hobbies, which include murdering entire families. Boone's whole thing is that he feels like he doesn't fit, that he's a monster, and he doesn't fit in, so he dreams of a world of monsters that will accept him. His doctor blames him for the killings, and he has a vision of having sex with his girlfriend, which seemingly disgusts him. And I guess here's where we talk about the subtext of the movie. Barker is, of course, openly gay, and the movie is often regarded as a metaphor for a man coming to terms with his own sexuality. He's a man in a relationship with a woman who is having dreams about a secret underground world of people who are shunned by everyday society that will accept him once he realizes that he's actually one of them. Boone meets Narcisse here, who promises to take him to Midian, the city of monsters, and he finds the entrance, where he encounters some unusual creatures such as Kinski and Peliquin, and Boone is bitten but manages to escape, but is then shot by police. But of course the bite has an effect, and Boone is reborn as one of the Nightbreed. So, again, to reiterate, he went to a place full of monsters, had an encounter which led to close contact with one of them, and he was transformed into one of them now and has to join their shunned society. Is this enough now to just be text and not subtext? He meets the rest of the breed, including Lylesburg, played by Pinhead himself, Doug Bradley, who's barely recognizable here, and maybe even less so depending upon which version you saw, considering that in the original theatrical version, all of his dialogue was redubbed by another actor, although his actual voice was restored in the director's cut. Boone joins the crew, who worship a god named Baphomet, and Annie tracks him down, but so does Decker. Boone has a new look, and there's a sadistic small-town sheriff named Eigerman, and the police descend upon Midian, discovering that they have a weakness for sunlight. There's also a crazed priest named Ashbury who refers to Boone as an abomination at one point, just in case you wanted more for your metaphor, and they form a posse to head to battle. A massive fight takes place with the city being destroyed, and Boone leads the charge, with lots of casualties on both sides, and Lylesburg is killed while releasing the uncontrollable berserkers. It's revealed that Boone is the one that has been prophesied to save the tribe, and he fights Decker, killing him, although again, depending upon which version of the film you saw, Decker kills Narcisse. Baphomet challenges Boone to restore the tribe, find his pieces and save him, and renames him Cabal. Ashbury is left behind and is distorted by Baphomet, scarring him, and there's two drastically different endings. The original theatrical cut has Cabal meeting with the breed in a barn with a very alive Narcisse, vowing to find a new home for them, and then Ashbury restores Decker to life. However, in the director's cut, Narcisse is dead, and Laurie kills herself, forcing Boone to bite her and convert her, while a very burnt Eigerman encounters Ashbury, who kills him and vows revenge. The remaining breed then wait for Cabal to come for them, and both versions, of course, heavily set up a sequel. And there were plans for a sequel, a trilogy in fact. Barker has stated that he intended to make a horror version of Star Wars. Further installments would involve Boone as Cabal, now the leader of the Nightbreed, helping them to find their new home and obviously deal with the loose ends of Ashbury coming for them. But unfortunately, the initial test screenings for the film seemingly started the film's problems. Even though, according to Barker, the audience had a blast watching the film, the results left the studio confused. After the screening, reshoots were ordered to add in some extra violence, including the entire sequence with John Agar, which was designed to further explain the story to the audience. They also changed the ending, allowing Narcisse to survive, seeing as how he became a fan favorite. The reshoots and edits pushed the film's release date back a year, delaying its release from fall of '89 to February of '90, but next on the parade of confusion, 20th Century Fox had no idea what kind of movie they had on their hands. They were left with a dark fantasy film, as we said earlier, a horror Star Wars, and didn't know what to do with it. One of the execs said to Barker, "You know, if you're not careful, you're gonna have people rooting for the monsters," which goes to show how far from the point that they were. Unable to grasp the concept, they chose to market the film this way, playing it up as a slasher film, emphasizing Cronenberg's button face character. And if you really want to see just how little that they understood how to get people to go see this movie, this was the poster? Barker found out too late about the ads, and when he complained, he was told that it was now too late, and it was what they would have to go with. So, audiences were totally unaware of what kind of movie the Nightbreed was, and the fact that the monsters were, in fact, the heroes of the film. Fox then butchered the film in the editing process to the point that when the cast and crew saw the premiere screening, they all claimed to no longer recognize the movie that they had made. The original intention was to have the focus be on the monsters and the lore, and the finished product instead focuses on Decker and the police. Plus, the studio declined to send the film out to film critics for reviews, a move that is usually reserved for films that they have little confidence in. You see, they're generally concerned that if they send it out, it will get unanimously bad write-ups. People will read those reviews and then choose to skip the movie. In this instance, Fox declared that it wasn't the case and that horror fans didn't read reviews anyway, so there just was actually no need to send the film to critics. So, another avenue for fans to learn the nature of the film and what it was about was lost. Add to that the fact that the pushed back release date put the film into a bit of a dead zone for movies, the dreaded February release, and it was set up for every type of failure possible. It came out over President's Day weekend in 1990 and placed 6th overall, pulling in only $3.7 million against minimal competition. Hell, the #1 movie of the weekend was Driving Miss Daisy in the 10th week of release. The #2 movie was a Steven Seagal flick in its second weekend because, Steven Seagal used to have movies in theaters, which is a weird thing to think about. It even had a pretty broad release, playing on close to 1,500 screens, and critics were mixed on the film, often criticizing its uneven storyline and half-developed characters, both elements that were exacerbated by the studio's re-edit. Barker's original intention was eventually restored many years later with the release of the director's cut, which runs about 20 minutes longer, and the Cabal cut, which is even longer and only exists in varying degrees of quality. These versions expand upon the Breed mythology and enhance the characters, and is probably the best way to view the film. I mean, how else are you going to see Ann Bobby's delightfully awkward rendition of Johnny Get Angry? Budgeted at $11 million, the film only made accumulated $16 million worldwide on its release, classifying it as a box office bomb once you added in the marketing costs, so of course any sequel or trilogy plans were immediately scrapped. However, fans of the characters could then just read their further exploits in a Marvel Comics series that was released at the same time that initially served as an adaptation of the film, following the director's cut instead of the theatrical version, and then continued the storyline for 25 issues, eventually having them cross over with their Hellraiser comic, having the Nightbreed face off against the Cenobites. They also brought in another Barker creation, and another Failure to Launch alum, Rawhead Rex, to do battle with as well. Fans of the film can also look forward to a new interpretation of the novella in TV series form for Sci-Fi that I guess may or may not happen at this point, since it's been discussed since 2018 with no real forward momentum, although it does not appear to be dead, and Trick or Treat's Michael Dougherty is still attached. Time will tell though if we'll actually see it, or if we're forever stuck with just a single outing for the children of Baphomet. So there you have it, it's just one movie, one entry of the Nightbreed, and that's all we're gonna get of that series, although, you know, a remake or a TV show or whatever, maybe down the line in one form or another. Let's check that out. I really love Nightbreed. I think it's a great flick. It's definitely uneven. I get the criticisms of it. There's definitely some awkwardness in the storytelling and some things that don't really add up overall, but it's very good. I enjoy it. The monsters are great. It's a blast. David Cronenberg is really creepy. That button face mask is pretty disturbing. And I enjoy it. I'm actually kind of bummed out that we never got to see what would happen afterwards. If you like this and you want to know what happens afterwards and all that stuff, put it down in the comments. I want to see what you guys thought about Nightbreed, and if you think it is as much a classic as I do, or if you just think it's kind of garbage, you tell me down below. Put that in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you enjoy the channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button and hitting the bell so you get notified when there are new videos. And if you think about it, go to my Patreon page at patreon.com/movietimelines. You can help support this channel and keep it going. I'd appreciate that. But in the meantime, just keep on watching, and I'll see you very shortly for another great video. Thanks a lot, guys, and bye-bye.